A, da, mai în sudul Italiei, Napoli. Deci chiar că la sud, la Roma, în jos, e tot al meu. Da, și acum mă băteam cu voie.
Păi și nu e și Roma.
Ce? Bă, Roma e...
Eu că e papa Seizer, morții lui de papă, futul în gură.
Dar nu face nimic, niciodată n-au să cucere asta.
Țin minte când am jucat
Ba, a cucerit.
Țin minte când am jucat cu Italia și am dat afară și a ajuns papa în Elveția.
Păi n-am face.
Am mutat și eu, băi. El e flexibil, bă, ce crezi că e așa cu clor prost?
What the fuck, mai am loc în inventar.
Haide. Ai. La
Hai,
cât
alu,
mergem, Alex?
Da?
La cât mergem?
La 4 azi sunt la ce.
La 4! Haideți, bă, mai seara. Mai devreme. Dar la ce, bă, mergeți la film?
Nu.
Ah. Haideți, bă, la film pe la 12. Eu uite de ce la 12. Că eu am condus, eu am decondus, bă, până la 12 și pe aia pot să vin dacă chiar.
Păi, vino la Costin sau la...
Păi ce dracu fac?
Stai că Costino acum nu are, nu-i la practică.
Nu e. Nu are
Mâine
liber.
nu e.
Mergi la Marius.
Bine.
Pula mea.
Știi cum se zice?
Mema
Vrei,
poate
nu
fi,
vrei?
știu. Tot mema ajungi.
Vrei, nu vrei?
Mema, meme.
Ia-o spula mea.
Bă, am 9.6k din alea roșii circuit.
Pizza Hawaii. Sos pomodoro, mozzarella și încă vișine ananas piersi.
Și eu
Vișine.
Deci de-aia o aleg.
Muie? Da, unde văd, tot la ăla, unde am fost.
Da,
A pus.
da. E ok acolo, e ieftin, e bun.
Trebuie să-mi bag pompe, bă, căcat. Ia uite. Nici cu pompa nu prea merge să scoată din butoanele astea. Ei, s-a împlut. Ia uite, bă. 125 de k de petrol. Îl calcul 2 locomotive, bă, că e prea greu.
Ce calcul două.
Uite-te pe stâni să vezi ce faci, mă, dau pe tren.
Ia să vedem.
Cred că nu mai prins. Dar uite aici, ce bază faină.
Am vrut să văd
Deci chiar o să arate super mișto asta.
a 5-a civilizație. Au.
Ce, așa e numele?
Așa e numele la stream.
What the fuck?
Sos drapula.
Ce frumos se duce fluidul în containerele de fluid.
Hai să-mi bag pula, iar nu pot să scriu mesaje că scriu spam. Morții măsii.
Aoleo, câte containere ai acolo, Pintiuț?
El e un capitalist adevărat, bă.
Uite, bă, bară play.
Câte rafinării ai?
O zi și 6 ore, nu mai am, că le-am șters. O zi și 6 ore, bă, așa. Bine, că m-am uitat la film. Ce?
Cum îți iei uleiul?
Păstrează vagoane de fluid, uite. Și îl scoate cu pompele afară. Uite, vezi că dacă tu ești atent în pixeli, e o mânuță de pompă care e acolo. Stai că-ți arăt complet cu zoom in să vezi cum se vede. Cum se scoate mânuța.
Păi
Asta
și
e-
cum îl treci prin rafinărie cu aia?
Dar nu trec prin rafinărie. Nu vezi că e petrol normal și pune aici? Ăstea sunt
Păi cum
excesul.
scoți petroleu?
Nu înțeleg. Este petrol normal, eu încă n-am rafinărie. Am avut rafinărie, am șters-o. Uite-te cum
Păi
e.
cum îți faci petroleu în coaie?
Trei
Păi îl
rafinării,
minez. Crude oil. Uite aici îl minez.
Putu-ți pizda, mă, că nu
Dar nu-
înțeleg.
Dacă nu știi să explici.
Uite-te acum să spus.
Are nume Alex Petroleum!
Ce să-i
Da.
fac? Că n-am înțeles.
Păi și el
Bulina
se...
neagră cu două buline albe.
Ah,
Păi
ăla e gaz, mă. Păi nu, ăla o să fac rafinărie pe insulă. Aveam aici rafinărie înainte. Nu, aici acum îl umple. Dar numai că se umple foarte greu, că pula mea. Adică bagă primele. Păi da, dar nu că uite aici, uite, cam pe unde sunt turetele astea, vezi, aici linia asta de turete. Cam pe acolo o să
Ce
fie
dimensiune ai la
granița. Ce?
fabrică?
Ce fac? Cum adică?
Dă pe hartă, gen, să văd cât de mare e.
Uite. Poluare nu mai e, că am scos. Ce
Nu
poluare?
poluare cu
Uite,
aia.
uite, uite, țiganii cum atacă în pula mea.
Numai dimensiune, bă.
Stai să vezi acum. Dar nu mai mă atacă așa de mulți țigani. Pe când am scos. Ia uite.
Cam cât am ea tu, bă.
Păi nu e, bă, dar uite, căcat. Adică partea asta de sus era plină înainte. Uite aici cum e. Astea sunt adunate pe la oaltă, nu am făcut. Și nici nu prea am avut, știi, mari chestii, că n-am nici science albastru, n-am... Circuitele lor roșii ce n-am făcut. Bă, ce greu să umple, băgă mea. Știi că dacă scot, uite, de exemplu, dacă scot aici la petrol, la crude oil, dacă scot un din ăsta, se duce tot fluidul în ălălalt, știi? Și asta creează presiune. Numai că dacă treci peste limită, dispare. Ia uite, vezi, acum e 5K și acum s-a împărțit aici. Știi, se tot face. Bine că acum e de viteză.
Așa.
Ia ce repede scoate băga mea și pula. Ce frumos. Ia cât e.
Nu.
Nu,
Nu,
nu.
nu.
Mama.
Și trenul cu ce merge?
Cu locomotive. Coul.
A.
Na, și ideea e, știi, să folosești numai trenul pentru transport. Adică materiale, chestii, că eu nu mai am, adică am iron, mai am 54 de K, coul 43, bine, mai am stone-uri.
Cipri, bă.
Ce?
N-am mai postat Cipri.
O fi murit.
Trezit din somn, bași jocuri sexuale și cu ochii în TV.
Înțeleg. Da, nu consumă așa de mult trenul, chiar merge fain.
Și ca să meargă trebuie să te urci în el sau poți să meargă și singur?
Poți să-l faci singur
Trebuie
cu
să faci
train stop.
automatic.
Uite, dacă am aici train stop-ul ăsta, bine, nu mai am, că acum nu mai am altă din aia, nu mai am alt train stop și da, poți să crezi.
Să-mi bag pula cum scrie. Îi comentează unul să te pocăiești. Nu mai zi nimic rău de Dumnezeu. Dumnezeu nu se implică în ceea ce este rău. Și îi răspunde Cipri. Poftim? Dumnezeu este bine și rău. Dublă polaritate. Petru deținea cheile porților raiului și iadului. Domn zeu, doi zei, boierii controlau biserica, autoritățile și societatea. Puterea de a face rău și de a face bine pe care țărănoiul prost o folosește ca influență criminală te influențează ca țiganii cu Dumnezeu. Sataniști împuțiți, astea sunt gunoaie care se pretind Dumnezeu. Catastrofele naturale ce sunt și cine le face. Dumnezeu este cel mai mare criminal notoriu și terorist. bătaie ruptă din rai. Ce înseamnă treaba asta? Că Dumnezeu agrează agresiunea. Deci nu mai spune că Dumnezeu nu se implică în așa ceva, că mai ales în România cel puțin este un mizerabil criminal notoriu, care ca și țiganii nu face altceva decât cerșește și influențează pe alții de credință. Este un căcat nenorocit. Asta este Dumnezeu, să-mi bag ceva în dubla lui polaritate. Legea vine de la Moise, nu? Justiția ce este? De ce criminalii dracului din justiție fac ce fac infractorii în justiție? Pentru că justiția este corectă, bună, nu face rău. Ba da, face rău și este cel mai mare criminal împuțit și nenorocit și se acoperă de credință, legalitate și putere și influență socială. Să mă piși pe el de 14 ani, mi s-a repetat și mi-au demonstrat că nu există Dumnezeu, deși viața și natura este de la Dumnezeu. Creația dar este cu totul altceva și nu credință și ce au creat niște mizerabili criminali ca să se folosească de acest lucru. Repet încă o dată că țiganii l-a cerșit și ca mijloc de influență. De aceea și din cauza conflictului, ca să nu implic divinitatea, mizerile provocate, am decis să renunț total la credință și nu mai mă interesează deloc. Nu poți face așa ceva, să te folosești de Dumnezeu ca mijloc de influență, făcând rău și criminal și fiind criminal împuțit. Aoleu, a scris 5 comentarii acá.
Dar cum îl cheamă, bă? Pe ăla care a scris? Cipri
Lorica
ceva?
Ciprian.
Da, bă, ăla cred că e tot el. De serios. Deci nu, dar cred că tot el, bă, e. Deci chiar nu glumesc la chestia asta, tot el e. Că are multe comentarii pe canalul lui și e cam singurul care comentează pe canalul lui. S-o fi mă, sau...
Astea de fapt sunt monologuri.
Da, că e mare fan.
Nu, deci e singurul care comentează pe canalul lui. N-a văzut pe cineva.
Ai comentat și tu odată, sau și eu.
Nu, eu nu am comentat.
Nu se pune ființă cu așa ceva.
Îți dai seama, bă, că nebunul ăla el crede că îl urmărește cineva, că înregistrează convorbirile. Și chiar așa e? Bă, ăla e, bă, nebun, bun.
Te bă, la... Băi, mi-ai ghețul. Știi de ce nu ai devenit încă un meme? Pentru că video tău are 7 minute și 51 de secunde.
Da, știu. M-am până să curăț eu toată astea, băga mea. Ce? Ce a zis, mă?
Mânca mea căcatul, bă, mi-ai pula.
Cine a scris? Florica Ciprian?
Nu, a zis. Mă, la ăla cu bea gheț.
E un clasic.
Eu, copilul tău e gras, mănâncă vinie.
Ce pula mea?
Pintiuț. 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 Hai cu tara asta. Hai că astea ignoră cancerul.
Ce anume? Da, unde trimiți tu, bă, pe spam? Ce dracu? Uite, putere... A, da, știu, asta, bă. Asta e meu.
Simte puterea la minus 360 de grade. Termogenesis. Demo. Dragonul de foc. Stăpânul întunericului mi-a dat putere. Ia-mă în infern. Dumnezeul tehnologic. Mesia tehnologică. Să devenim roboți. Acum începe. Numai așa.
Hai de pula mea.
Aia e tovarăș, aia e. Aia știe, bă. Nu. Ia, cum dă, ia, dă magia, bă. Bă, își dă magia.
Arde genomul. Simte puterea a minus 360 de grade.
Nu, metinul.
Termogenesis.
Da, bă, că îți dă magie.
Aia e tovarășe.
Sura e.
Omule, știu toate magiile, nu.
Aia e, bă.
Să vină Lucifer.
Unde-i sora zi?
Aia e, mă.
Te-a zis sora?
Nu, da, da. N-am mai văzut, dar ai fac.
Termogenesis. Cheamă-mă în infern. Domnul, mesia tehnologică. Hai, tovarășe. Mă dă mai ce, tovarășe. Cheamă-mă.
Asta e parodie, bă. Da, bă. E influența Dumnezeului tehnologic. Mai pățești? Mai dai, mai. 13 ture, ți-ar engage, da, ce pula mea, mă.
Da, molxe.
Cine-i bă Neon Genesis acolo? Neon Genesis? Are neoane ăla, bă? Ce nici nu-i amuzant, bă, de ce dracu ai râs? Căcat.
Demon Genesis.
Neon Genesis. Nu a fost amuzant. Dă-te morții, mătii, trenule. Nu te muți eu de aici. E foarte lasă. Aici vezi că dacă îți faci trenuri poți să le conduci. Adică... Futu-ți morții, mătii. Ce bă, ai mai găsit? Dă-mi și mie. Dă-mi și mie, bă, te rog eu. Că am nevoie. Dă-mi și mie, Marius.
Ți-am dat.
El nu te-a rugat, Iulia.
Și uită-te și de la cine.
De la Lili. Care-i faza? Nu înțeleg
Nu știu.
memă. Această memă nu o înțeleg. Neon Genesis, pula mea. Aoleu, am pus trenul invers. Vagonelul nebun. Cam asta e. Nu e bine. Futu-ți moriți. Cum dracu poți să-ți iei un tren cu rucsac, bă?
Du härliga ångest. Som hjärtar. Dag för dag.
Stai, frate, chiar nu merge.
Även denna kväll görs
Nej, på real noapte bună.
Nu am Marius.
Am ajuns.
Somn ușor.
Am ajuns.
Mulțumesc.
Era asta, bă? Ok.
Foarte
Ce am
frumos.
ajuns? Merg-i pe talon, că nu e a ta. Niște că ne simțiți, bă.
Dacă omul vorbește așa frumos, îi răspund și eu în limba lui, nu?
Cineva educat.
Nu,
Animalele
tu,
de pe
ha.
stradă, bă. Păi cum?
Internetul, bă.
Uai, ce bebe.
Frumos, bă.
Da, hai bă că mă curc și eu, bă. Mă curc
Seara,
înaintea ta,
da,
Mariuse.
E, zici tu.
O seară
Nu,
mică.
nu.
Închide ochii, bă, îmi dau cu tigaia în cap să leșin.
Eu închid mai repede.
Mamă. N-ai, mă. N-am pensit.
matlagning. Och som är rätt tröttnäs och försäljning. Det är lite bort i längden.
Ångrar du din resa?
Nej. Jag ångrar ingenting. Men jag är lite trött.
will wait forever. I wait.
Hey guys, it's me Miles, and who wants to learn how to make balls of fire that you can hold? How cool is that? Very cool is the answer. Okay, so how do you do this? Well, you need three simple things. First of all, you'll need something that's 100% cotton. Now I'm using a pair of old boxer shorts here. You'll need a fuel. I'm using ethanol, which probably isn't the best. The best fuel to use is the old, you know, the lighter fluid. Use that because that burns at a much lower temperature. And then of course, you'll need fire source, so I'm using this. Okay, first of all, you need to cut up your cotton into strips, or a strip, depending on how many you're making. Okay, once you've got your strip, simply tie it in knots. And keep doing this. It takes about 3-4 times with my undies. Okay, and once you've done that and you come to the end, it's very important that you get rid of these straggly bits at the end. Like so. Go. Next, you need to douse it in your fuel. Now, when you're dousing it, make sure that it's not dripping wet, because that will drip the fuel onto you, and then you will set on fire, which is nice. So it just needs to be just a little bit done, a little bit covered. Okay. This is a bit where I'm sure I don't need to remind you that you need to be in a wide open space, or accompanied by an adult, or not to sue me if this goes wrong. Okay. I found it best if you wet your hands as well before you do this, because it does hurt after a while. And then simply light the thing. There we go. What do you think of that? Pretty cool. I wonder if I can juggle with these things. Oh, this is such a bad idea. Okay, ah, fuck. No! I forgot how to juggle. When you need to put them out, simply the best thing to do I found is just to stamp on them, and they just go out.
After failing and nearly setting fire to my mum's house, you know what I thought? I'm going to try this juggling thing again.
Okay. Here goes. Okay. Ow, ow, ow. No, I forgot how to juggle, sorry. But no, these are pretty cool, eh? So remember, if you like what I do, and you want to see some more silly stuff whilst I'm visiting my mum, remember to rate, comment and subscribe. And see you guys later.
Schadenfreude is a German word meaning pleasure in other people's misfortune. Now unfortunately its counterpart is missing from the English language, which is a shame because I think it's really needed. Now although we would never admit in polite conversation that we take pleasure in other people's misfortunes, the truth is we secretly snigger whenever we see bad things happening to others. And this is probably why sites like Failblog have gotten so popular recently, forever immortalising people's failures so future generations can appreciate them. Now personally I've got a bit, I get my fix of Schadenfreude, I believe I'm butchering that word, from seeing pictures of people online who've decided to get tattoos of Japanese text without first getting it translated. This has led to a lot of hilarious translations, like this chap who had Bakugaijin written on his back, which is someone who's been to Japan knows, and someone who's been called it knows, it means stupid foreigner. Unfortunately, the rise in popularity of these tattoo fails means that more and more young people are actually getting their tattoos checked before getting them done, which is starving us of our much needed, you know, pleasure in other people's misfortune. But I say, aha, there is a type of tattoo out there that not many people know is just prone to failure, with about 1 in 4 of these tattoos that I've seen online having some kind of error in there, and that is people who for some unknown reason have decided to get a tattoo of a chemical structure on their body without first getting it checked by a chemist. So let's have a look at some of these. Structural formulas are graphical representations of molecules, showing how the atoms within are arranged. What's important to know is that everything in these diagrams has a meaning, from the thickness of the lines to how many lines there are between 2 points, to the angle of these lines, etc, etc. If you were to get any one of these things wrong, the whole structure becomes wrong. As you can imagine, mistakes are really easy to make, and this is why you'd think if you were going to get this thing permanently tattooed on your body, you'd get a chemist to check it over first. Fortunately, as I said before, for horrible people like myself, this is not the case. So let's have a look at some of these, starting off with this one of dopamine, serotonin, and some random elements that spell out think. Now, the first thing that really jumps out to me is that all the letters, for some odd reason in the chemical symbols, are capitalized. This would have been corrected by pretty much looking at any periodic table on the planet. So let's change that here. Next, let's move on to the lowest structure, which I think is meant to be dopamine, but because it's missing a double bond in its ring, it's a completely different molecule. Last is the top molecule, which is meant to be serotonin, I guess, but the indole component is completely the wrong shape, making this 5-membered nitrogen-containing ring look hexagonal. The position of the NH with the hydrogen right of the nitrogen within what is meant to be the ring structure turns this hydrogen into a parahydrogen of the new phenol ring, leaving this nitrogen floating next to it. So let's correct this. This is how this structure should look. Here we have another example, only this time we have inconsistent bond thickness. I'm not sure why this person decided to do that. And this time we're missing 2 double bonds in dopamine. And once again we have the N and the H with inside the ring. And what's more interesting is they've put HN, which is even more wrong than the last one. Next we have another example of someone who's got tattooed dopamine and serotonin, this time on their arm. I don't know why these 2 structures are so popular, by the way. Although this person has corrected the dopamine mistakes, they've buggered up the serotonin by removing the nitrogen from the pyrrole ring and replacing it with a carbon. They now have this magical floating NH group mid-air. They've also decided for some reason to draw the primary amine upside down. Just bizarre, really, if you ask me. Next person on this list, for some unknown reason, decided to brand himself with what I believe is meant to be MDMA, also known as ecstasy. Looking past why anyone on Earth would decide to promote their recreational drug use to the world, you can see that they've drawn the structure completely wrong. This is what it's meant to look like. When it comes to ball and stick representations of molecules, each atom has to be distinguished from the other by changing its colour. Here, this daft lad had a tattoo of what I think is meant to be DMT, but decided to just go mad with the colours. And yeah, so this doesn't make any sense now. So here it is corrected. See, doesn't that look much nicer? The next person on this list must have been high when they thought it would be a good idea to have one of the main psychoactive components, THC, found in cannabis tattooed on them with some magical hypervalent oxygens instead of methyl groups. I suppose this one would be easy to fix with like laser surgery thing, just put little like dints in the O's and turn them into carbons, so you can easily fix this one, I guess. Here we have a tattoo of the psychedelic drug LSD, and in case you didn't know, the D stands for diethylamide, and what is missing from this structure? Why, it's the diethylamide. All you need to do here is put 1 extra line and you're done. This arsehole is also missing the diethylamide, as they forgot to put the nitrogen in the middle. This one's a little harder to see because its error is about the stereochemistry of DXM. The first problem is a lack of dashed or wedged line going from the chiral carbon in the middle to the hydrogen. Now this tells you which way the hydrogen is pointing, but without having it there, showing this hydrogen is absolutely useless. Next, the nitrogen containing ring is clearly in front of the rest of the molecule because of the break in the cyclohexane ring behind it. This is the wrong isomer of DXM and therefore the wrong compound. Here is another example of a stereochemistry fail. This person has also decided to brand themselves with THC. The only problem here is they thought it looked better the other way around and have simply flipped the molecule round. Now the reason we know they've actually flipped it around themselves and this image hasn't just been flipped itself is that you can clearly see where it says Me, which stands for methyl groups, and that's the correct way around. Now, this molecule has chiral centers, so when you flip it around, the parts that were originally facing forwards and towards you are now facing away. This is something this chap didn't realize. This one, the last one, it's kind of hard to know where to start because there is just so much wrong with it. Like, pretty much all of it is wrong. They've removed nearly all of the double bonds. There is a carbon-carbon bond between the LSD part and the THC part. They've swapped oxygen with carbon on the THC, and that's just naming a few. This whole thing is wrong. This is what it should look like. How can anyone make so many mistakes? They're going to be branded with that for the rest of their life. Bloody hell. Oh. Okay, so here we are at the end of the video, and normally at this point I would actually offer my services or give some advice, but the truth is, I still want people to get these failed tattoos because I'm a horrible person and nothing gives me more pleasure than seeing these people fuck up. So keep doing what you're doing, people of the internet and people who get tattoos. You guys are awesome. So here we are at the end of the video and hopefully you liked it. And if you did, remember to give me a like, and if you liked it a lot, give me a subscribe because it really means a lot to me. And yeah, in case you didn't notice, I'm in Berlin, which is pretty awesome. I don't know what to say. I never know what to say in these videos, so check some other ones out if you want to check out some of the stuff I've done. I think they're okay, not a lot of people do. Hey ho, anyway, I'm going to stop making a fool of myself and talking in public, because I don't know how vloggers do this, but I'm getting a lot of funny looks. So anyway, goodbye internet, see you later. What is MSG, and is it dangerous to humans? Let's talk about it. Hi internet, it's me Miles. Now if I were to ask you guys how many basic tastes there are, I can pretty much guarantee the vast majority of you would say 4. There's saltiness, bitterness, sourness and sweetness. And you'd be wrong. There's actually a 5th one, called umami. Its name is derived from the Japanese word for delicious, and despite us all tasting it daily, it wasn't discovered until 1908. The man credited with its discovery was and apologies for getting this wrong, Kukune Akida, a chemistry professor working at the Imperial University of Tokyo. Akida noticed that a Japanese soup base seemed to have a distinct flavour from the 4 known at the time. He decided to isolate the compound responsible for this unique flavour, and he got this crystalline compound that turned out to be glutamic acid. Later researchers discovered that it's actually the carboxylate anion of glutamic acid that is responsible, because it binds to certain receptors on the tongue, making it indeed a new type of taste. The taste itself is hard to describe, but apparently it enhances food and makes other food more palatable. Now this bit is really interesting because it is theorized that us humans evolved to detect glutamate as a result of the advantages of eating cooked and fermented and aged foods. Processing our food in one or more of these ways would not only release glutamate but also give us access to easily digestible protein and nutrients. It may also provide access to probiotic bacteria. This would have put us at an advantage, therefore it was selected for by natural selection. This is why we crave foods that are rich in umami flavour, things like cheese and meats and mushrooms and things like that. Akida, realising the potential of this compound to be used in cooking, developed a way of mass producing the sodium salt of it, monosodium glutamate, and it's been used in cooking ever since. In 1968, concerns about using this compound in food were raised by a chap called Robert, who wrote to the New England Journal of Medicine saying that after eating at a Chinese restaurant, he developed hangover-like symptoms, and he blamed the MSG in his food for causing those symptoms. This is where the term Chinese restaurant syndrome comes from. Since then, we've had decades of researchers looking into the link between MSG and potential headaches and migraines and hangover-like symptoms. All of this research has shown that MSG isn't linked to these hangovers or headaches whatsoever, yet despite this, people are still worried about having MSG in their food. Don't get me wrong, there are ethical concerns about putting MSG in food that's low nutritional and high fat and just generally bad for you. Those are valid concerns, but saying that MSG is going to give you a headache, that's just wrong. Because a fear of chemistry and chemicals is in fashion these days, MSG has been blamed for practically everything. And if you want to see some good examples of this, then we don't have to look any further than natural news again. For example, let's check out the blog post MSG and its addictive neurotoxic side effects. Straight off the bat, the blog post proclaims that MSG has escaped extensive testing because it is derived from an amino acid. This is simply not true. MSG has been subjected to a plethora of double-blind clinical trials, all of which show that MSG isn't dangerous in the levels that you consume. Yet despite this, the author copied word for word a list of side effects of consuming MSG from a website called Organic Lifestyle, who in turn got their list from a Dr. Blaylock. I think that's how you say his name. Blaylock is a retired neurosurgeon and author of the book Exotoxins, The Taste That Kills. He believes that MSG kills nerve cells by overstimulating them over time and blames this compound for Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and a load of learning difficulties. The only problem here is nothing of what he says is backed up in the scientific literature. In fact, in the paper,
The Blood-Brain Barrier and Glutamate, it reports that
the entry of glutamate into the central nervous system is restricted and there are even mechanisms to kick it out of there. On a side note, Blaylock also believes that aspartame and sucralose pose a real danger if you consume them, and back in 2013 went on a podcast where he promoted chemtrails, so maybe he's not the best place to get your information from. Anywho, let's go back on with the Natural News blog post. It later goes on to say, research has conclusively confirmed that consuming high doses of MSG causes lesions in the hypothalamus. Now this took some time to actually track down, so pat on the back, Miles, for actually finding this, but I believe here they're quoting the paper, monosodium glutamate induced brain lesions, electron microscopic examination. In the paper, mice were injected with large doses of MSG and they did indeed develop lesions on the brain. However, they were exposed to incredibly large doses of MSG through a method which normal people, don't get exposed to MSG in that way. Similar studies using around about the same amount of MSG but administering it orally found that it actually doesn't have this same toxic effect. In super high doses, mice and ourselves will become ill through eating MSG. But it's the same as everything, and I'm sick of saying this. I know I say this a lot, and apologies if you've heard this 1,000 times before, but it's the dose that makes the poison. And to put some kind of context here, MSG has an LD50 oral 5 times less than regular table salt. One interesting thing about these natural news bloggers who quote research that looks into the negative effects of MSG on mice is that they never mention that mice are particularly susceptible to negative effects from MSG and us humans aren't. This is well documented, yet these people never bring it up. No matter how you look at it, internet, MSG is safe for human consumption at the doses that you're likely to be exposed to. This blogger has brought nothing new to the table. They've just parroted the same thing that we've heard for decades, and it's bollocks. There is no link between MSG and any kind of headaches or anything like that. It's perfectly fine for human consumption within reasonable levels. Go enjoy some Chinese food. Bye, internet. Okay, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you liked it, and I just want to say a big thank you to all the people who support me on Patreon. You guys are absolutely flipping awesome, but you're not the only awesome people. Everyone who watches these videos I think is pretty awesome, and I just want to say thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give me a like and all that jazz, because it really does help me out. And hopefully you like the shirt. I like this shirt. I think it's pretty rocking. I think it's pretty cool. Right, see you later, internet. Bye. One of the great things about being a Z-list internet skeptic is I no longer have to go out my way to find crazy conspiracy theories to debunk or woo peddlers to knock down a peg. Nowadays, I am inundated from people who send me PMs, tweets, emails, giving me all this information for free, doing all the hard work for free. And if it weren't for them, I would have never discovered the AIDS denialist documentary House of Numbers. I would have never discovered The Food Babe. And I just want to take the time to say thank you, but also to show my gratitude by taking a request. And if there's one thing that a lot of people have been asking me to do over the last 5 years since I've been on the internet, it's to talk about artificial sweeteners and if there's any dangers behind them. Hello there internet, it's me Miles. Now as many of you will know, artificial sweeteners are compounds that taste sweet but have significantly less calories than regular old table sugar. Now there are many different variations of these on the market at the moment, but by far the three that get the most negative press are saccharin, sucralose, and aspartame. Some people out there, especially on the internet, think that these three compounds are responsible for the rates of cancer and autism going up here in the West, and some other people believe that these compounds are flat out poison and are going to kill you. But is there any truth to this, and what does the research actually say? So what I'm going to do is make 3 videos looking at these 3 sugars and look at what people online are saying about them, and look what actually, you know, the scientific community is saying, and seeing if there's any crossover. So let's start off with aspartame. Aspartame can be found in a lot of diet products. For example, I have down here a bottle of Pepsi. I'm not being sponsored by them. And you can see there it is there. So what do some people think the dangers are behind this compound and why they're worried? I think the best place to answer this question is to look at natural news. Yep, for the first time ever, natural news might be a credible source. I found a blog post called "What is Aspartame? 5 surprising facts you never knew about the chemical sweetener." And it does pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. It gives you 5 reasons why you should be worried about this artificial sweetener. Starting with number 1. Aspartame is converted by the body into formaldehyde, a cancer-causing chemical. Aspartame can indeed be metabolized by the body to generate methanol, which then can be oxidized into the probable human carcinogen formaldehyde by an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase. The problem here is that the levels of methanol given off by aspartame is tiny. It's negligible, especially compared to other sources we have of it in our diet. For example, methanol is in certain fruits and fruit juices. The blog does try and counter this by saying,
free methanol in particular is highly toxic, converting first into formaldehyde and then into formic acid upon consumption. Unlike the methanol found in alcoholic beverages and various fruits and vegetables, the methanol produced by aspartame is not accompanied by ethanol, which acts as a protector against methanol poisoning.
Ethanol has a higher binding affinity to alcohol dehydrogenase than methanol, so what's happening here is the enzyme prefers to do stuff with ethanol rather than methanol, and because of this we say that ethanol here is a competitive inhibitor. Now, does it stop methanol from being oxidized altogether in the body? No, it doesn't. That's still going to happen, but